Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tipped. Julian here for another waiver wire episode, this one for week 17. Before I start jumping into that content though, guys, please drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're getting really close now to 7,000 subscribers. We're just a few subscribers away, so definitely would mean the world to me if you did hit that button if you haven't already. And help me hit my goal of 7,000 subscribers. Wow, that would be incredible. Obviously, guys, if you are already subscribed, you can consider taking your support to the next level by checking out the link to my Patreon in the description below. Let's jump into the content now, guys, and let's take a look at the schedule for this week. And before I do that, I just want to break down that this week is actually a two-part week. There are only 3 days of games, and at that, barely before the breaks, because there's like barely any teams playing. And then after that, the week continues and there's a little bit more games. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is breaking down the week into part 1 and part 2. Part 1 is before the All-Star break, and guys, you should consider picking up before the All-Star break. And then part 2, which is after the All-Star break, and guys, that you can consider picking up after that. So as you can see, week 17 part 1 schedule. On Monday there is 1 game only, on Tuesday there are 2, and Wednesday there are 3. That's it. There's very few games prior to the All-Star break this week. So it is pretty important to maximize the amount of players you have playing on these 3 very unbusy nights. Try to get yourself as much of a lead as possible going into the All-Star break so that afterwards you've already built a lead and you're in good shape to win the week. So that being said, only 9 teams actually play before the break, and 3 of them play 2 games. Those teams are Nashville, Ottawa, and San Jose. So basically in this part of the video, I'm going to be suggesting just Ottawa, just Nashville, and just San Jose players so that you guys can add someone who's going to play a couple of games and get you with a nice head start on your week. The teams that do also play 1 game are Columbus, Seattle, St. Louis, Anaheim, Detroit, and LA. So if you have anybody from those teams, you can get a little bit of a head start this week as well. So let's jump into some Nashville, Ottawa, and San Jose players. And the first guy on the list is Ryan O'Reilly, who's had an awesome year. He's hovering just about the 70% rostered range, so he's probably rostered in your league unless you're probably in like an 8-man or something like that. He's been great, but top line and top power play, definitely some great deployment if he is somehow available. Get you a couple games there. Vladimir Tarasenko is playing on the 3rd line right now in Ottawa, but is relatively hot, so definitely not a terrible ad there for a couple games as well. Gustav Nyquist is still on the right wing on the top line with Forsberg and O'Reilly, as well as the top power play. Definitely not a bad ad there. Then we got Tomas Hertl, who's playing on the top line in San Jose with Mike Hoffman and Fabian Zetterlund, and Logan Couture, who's playing on the 2nd line with Barabanov and Duclair. Both guys are playing on the top power play, and both are very good streamers for these couple of games. And honestly, these are guys that you can hang on to as well if you're in a deeper league and somehow they're available. Then we got Josh Norris of the Ottawa Senators playing on the top line in Ottawa, but no longer on the top power play, which is probably for the best for the Sens. Still a pretty decent option for these couple of games here. Colton Sisson's playing on the 3rd line in Nashville, as well as the top power play though, which is where he has a lot of value. The dude shoots the puck a decent amount too. Seems to have a pretty safe floor every single night, so definitely a solid streamer for those 2 days. Shane Pinto's playing on the 3rd line with Tarasenko and with Matthew Joseph, which is a decent line, and Shane Pinto is ready and fired up to finally be playing hockey, so definitely a guy who's motivated to put up some points. Ridley Gregg's playing on the 2nd line right now in Ottawa, and he's been playing pretty well, so definitely a good streamer for those 2 days. Would drop him after that, along with most of these guys on this list here. And then Fabian Zetterlund's playing on the top line with Hertl, as well as the top power play, so if you're in a super deep league, still a viable streamer for a couple days here. If you're looking for a goaltender or defenseman, these are additional options that you could be picking up for those couple of days. Jake Sanderson, who's getting 2nd power play time. Thomas Chabot, who's getting top power play time. Definitely should be owned in more leagues. Jonas Korpisalo is the starting goalie for Ottawa, especially with Forsberg injured. He should be getting most of the starts here in Ottawa. Jeremy Lauzon, 35% rostered, is a guy who's been hitting like a madman, giving himself a super safe floor night in and out. Mackenzie Blackwood should get both starts potentially for both those games, so definitely a viable streamer, particularly in points leagues. And finally, I have Mario Ferraro here, but that's only if he's healthy. He just did get injured, so if he's not playing, obviously, don't be streaming Mario Ferraro here. All right, so let's jump into part 2 of this week, guys, and that is everything that comes after the All-Star break. So Monday, February 5th, there are 2 games. Tuesday, there are 8. Wednesday, 3. Thursday, 7. Friday, 3. Saturday, 13. And Sunday, 2. So the off nights are pretty much every single night except for Tuesday and Saturday. And even Tuesday, there are only 8 games. So that means only 16 teams playing. That means only half the teams are playing. So in all likelihood, you might have some room in your lineup on Tuesday as well. Go ahead and check that. But if you have room in your lineup on Tuesday and Thursday, then you don't really have to be prioritizing the off nights too much this week. So let's take a look at the teams that have a good schedule in part 2 of the week. I took the teams that play 4 games, and there are only 3 teams that play 4 games this week. And those are Colorado, Vancouver, and Washington. All 3 do play on the busy night of Saturday, but still, getting 4 games is pretty handy this week. And then the New York Rangers only play 3 games, but they do play on 3 off nights, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. They don't play on Saturday, so you'll still get 3 games out of New York Rangers, as well as some other teams as well. Now, there's some teams with a pretty bad schedule in part 2 of the week, and the San Jose Sharks don't play a single game this week. So after you stream your San Jose Sharks for the part 1 of the week, it's definitely a decent idea to be dropping them unless you have Couture or Hurdle in a deeper league, then I'd probably hang on to them. But definitely, if you're grabbing Zetterlund, you're definitely not hanging on to him for part 2 of the week. And the same thing goes with all the other teams that were actually playing week 1, except for St. Louis. St. Louis actually does play 2 games this week on Saturday and Sunday, but the rest of these teams only play 1 game, and these are the teams that also played at least 1 game before the break. So not ideal for any of these teams if you're holding players from them after the first part of the week. So let's take a look at some options. Martin Necas of the Carolina Hurricanes, 65% rostered, is pretty hot right now. He's not playing on a particularly great line, and nor is he playing on the top power play, but he's shooting the puck a lot, and he's producing. So as of right now, definitely a viable ad. Owen Tippett of the Philadelphia Flyers is injured right now and just signed a very big contract extension for over $6 million a year, which is great for him. He's someone that I like for his floor. He shoots, he hits, and he's putting up points as well pretty often. I'd stash it on IR spot if he is available. Joel Farabee at 53% rostered is someone who I didn't expect to be doing this well at this point in the season, but right now the dude's super hot, and it's pretty hard to not have him on your team right now. Charlie Coyle, same kind of thing. He's just insanely hot right now, and you gotta ride the hot streak with Charlie Coyle. He's a dude that doesn't put up a whole lot of peripherals, so when he starts going cold, he's probably going to be a drop. But as of right now, he's a really nice hold on your team. Troy Terry only plays 1 game this week, so maybe don't be picking him up for this week. But after this week, guys, Troy Terry, he's been pretty hot and is getting some good deployment right now, so I don't hate the pickup there. Arturi Lehkonen is 37% roster right now, and he just returned from injury. As of right now, his deployment is 3rd line and 2nd power play. I'm not sure how long that's going to last, though, because I think he's going to take over Colton's spot on the top power play as soon as Colton cools down, which shouldn't take too long. I think Lehkonen is definitely better suited up there, and he's a good streamer, in my opinion, for a week where Colorado plays 4 games. Dakota Joshua is playing 2nd line in Vancouver, playing pretty well on that line with Connor Garland as well as Teddy Bluger. Great streamer when Vancouver plays 4 games this week. Jonathan Drouin, same thing, top line and top power play in Colorado. Yeah, he slowed down quite a bit, but still, Colorado plays 4 games this week. Definitely a pretty good streamer. Sam Bennett of the Florida Panthers is absolutely on fire right now. I've been holding this guy all year in a deep league, and it is paying off. Sam Bennett is someone I absolutely love, has a pretty safe floor, and he's playing on a line with Matthew Tkachuk right now and putting up the points, which is nice to see. Chandler Stevenson's playing top line and top power play in Vegas and is finally starting to put up the points. I love to see it. And the Golden Knights have a pretty decent playoff schedule for the fantasy playoffs, especially if you finish in the very last week of the season, which you shouldn't be doing, but if you are, the Vegas Golden Knights definitely have a good playoff schedule, and Chandler Stevenson is someone that you can be holding all that time because he's pretty good. Then I have Max Pacioretty, Dylan Strome, and TJ Oshie. Pacioretty and Strome are on the top line with Ovechkin, and Oshie is on the 2nd line. All 3 of them are on the top power play in Washington, and all 3 of them are viable streamers on the week where Washington plays 4 games. Next is my Manscaped must-add player of the video, Cam Atkinson. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code word FANTASYTIPPED at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with the code word FANTASYTIPPED. Because your grooming upgrade awaits, ready to charm your Valentine's dates. Now, why is Cam Atkinson my Manscaped must-add player of the video? Where the dude is insanely hot. He's got 5 goals and 5 assists in his last 7 games. Playing on line with Joel Farabee, who's also insanely hot. Even though he's not getting power play 1, this guy is someone who is hot and cold, so you need to be riding this guy when he is hot because you're absolutely going to regret it if you don't grab him. Sean Monahan is another guy who's very hot right now. He's the guy you need to be picking up while he's hot as well. In his last 6 games, he's got 8 assists and 2 goals. He's very, very, very hot right now and definitely an excellent add because he's available in 84% of leagues. Connor Garland at 8% rostered is a good add along with the guy a few spots lower on this list. Teddy Bluger are playing on the second line in Vancouver, both playing pretty well. And on a week where Vancouver plays 4 games, it's a pretty good idea to add those guys. Yuri Slafkovsky of the Montreal Canadiens is someone who's warm right now as well. If you're in a super deep league, I would consider adding him if I were you. He's got 4 points in his last 6 games. And the Habs don't have a terrible schedule this week. Nicolas Roy, the Vegas Golden Knights, is centering their second line right now with the injuries in Vegas. He's playing beside Barbashev and Jonathan Marchessault, and I could have easily made him my Manscaped must-add player of the video, but if you're in a deep league, he is a must-add right now. And finally, Pavel Dorofeev is only 1% rostered, but is playing on the top line with Mark Stone and Chandler Stevenson, and he's not doing half bad. If you're in a super deep league, definitely recommend grabbing him. Justin Falk of the St. Louis Blues is a pretty solid add right now as well. He's someone who's had a bit of a lackluster season, but the floor is pretty safe there, and he'll put up points relatively frequently as well. Brock Faber is someone who's absolutely killing it right now on that top power play in Minnesota. When Spurgeon comes back from injury, he may not even get a top power play spot back. That's how well Brock Faber is doing. He's put himself into the Calder contention, and if Bedard stays injured too long, he may even win the Calder. Definitely a must add if he's somehow still available in your league. Seth Jones is someone that I do like. I added him even in an 8-man league right now. His floor has been pretty decent. He's definitely someone who's droppable in an 8-man. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying add him in all 8-mans. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying he is rosterable in pretty much all league formats, and definitely someone that could help you out if he's available. Zach Werenski, someone who's coming back from injury pretty soon, so add him to an IR spot, stash him, and he's someone who could put up a lot of points when he comes back. Josh Manson is someone who's a decent add for the 4 games that the Colorado Avalanche play this week. He'll give you a pretty safe floor, which is what he's been doing all year round, so that's not bad if you just need a safe floor for 4 games this week. Colton Parayko of the St. Louis Blues has also been giving a pretty safe floor all year this year. Shots, blocks, hits, whatever it is, he's doing it. He's putting up points more frequently than you think as well. He's definitely not a bad add. Alec Martinez, someone who's actually getting PP1 time in Vegas, and he's producing. He's obviously putting up points every so often and putting up a crazy amount of blocks. This dude has always blocked a crazy amount of shots, and he's continuing to do so, so definitely a very good add, especially in points leagues where blocks count for a decent amount of points. And Olin Zellweger of the Anaheim Ducks has just made his NHL debut, and through 2 games, he's got an assist and some okay peripherals. And if you're in a deep league and you need someone who can put up points for you, this guy has got a bright future ahead of him and is getting power play 1 deployment. So why not take a shot on him? Igor Zamula of the Philadelphia Flyers is still getting top power play time there, is not performing half bad, and Adam Boquist should continue to get power play time in Columbus until Werenski comes back. As far as goalies go, you might be wondering why Lyon is not on the list. That's because Detroit only plays 1 game this week, so I tried to get you goalies that could get more than 1 start this week. First being Peter Kochetkov. I know he's coming back from an injury, and he could be ready pretty soon, so he's someone that I would look at. Ilya Samsonov has maybe bounced back. Let's wait and see. If he keeps playing well, he's going to be the starter once again in Toronto, and he's someone that needs to be added in almost all league formats. Samuel Urson is going to be taking over as a starter in Philadelphia because Carter Hart might be gone the rest of the year. He's in quite a bit of mess, and he may not ever play hockey again. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen of the Buffalo Sabres is 44% rostered and starting the majority of the games for Buffalo, and always a good add there because he's playing very well. Charlie Lindgren is playing much better right now than Darcy Kemper and should get the bulk of the starts for Washington. I think he'll at least get 2 of the 4 starts there. Onto Ronta. If Kochetkov isn't ready, it's definitely viable for Carolina. Peter Mrazek has been low-key one of the best goalies this year. Considering the team that's in front of him, he's been absolutely unreal this year. Montembeault is getting the majority of the starts for Montreal. David Riddick is someone that if Talbot doesn't figure it out soon, he can be getting some more starts as well. And Nico Daws, the New Jersey Devils, is getting about half the starts in New Jersey right now. And if you're in a deep league, is probably the only one of these guys that's actually available. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. I hope you enjoyed the video today. If you did, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're getting so close to 7,000 subscribers. So thanks to all you guys that are already subscribed. And thank you to all of you guys that do hit the subscribe button today. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.